So this is our final video, demo video for the final project for team number 5. We had modified the game to implement two-player multiplayer. For both players, we also added the ability to move in both directions, so up, down, left, and right. Right now, I'll quickly go over the board. We didn't change much. So we have VGA into the monitor, we have USB into our PS2 keyboard, which is on my lap over there. And then we have power cable. We have 7 segments to show the score of the players in the game, middle button to reset the game, and then PMOD joystick that is a second input. So this controls the player 2, keyboard controls the player 1. And we're using arrows on the keyboard to control the player 1. So in the game itself, right now, the game is dead because we just stopped it before the demo. And the important things we need to know is that both players are colored red. That's a bad design decision. It's kind of hard to figure them out, figure them apart. But the player that starts at the top is the player 2 and is controlled by the joystick. And the player that starts at the bottom is controlled by the arrows, and that's the player 1. So right now, let's start with the demo. I'll be controlling only with one player at a time, and I'm gonna start with the joystick. So I reset the game, and I move the joystick up, down, left. Oh, I had something. Okay, so up, down, left, right, and in both directions simultaneously. That's for player 2. Now if I reset the game and control it with the keyboard, same thing. Up, left, down, right, up, left, down, right. Hit something, and the game is over. This actually covers most of our requirements. The only thing we have to mention is that, well, first of all, for our collision system, we're using a single process, so the player 2 can actually be at the obstacle and the game would not recognize it until the process is triggered again, either by the input 1 player or by the system clock. So to solve this issue, we would separate it into 2 separate processes and have each one of them control the collision for their respective players. I'll try to show it, but it's kind of hard to do it. Like right now, for a second, you saw that second player was actually over the obstacle while the game was still running until the process was triggered and it recognized that the collision happened and ended the game. So that's the thing that happens because of our implementation. The second thing we had with our game, the issue, was one of the requirements required us to show the victory screen based on the scores of the players. So when first player dies and the second player dies, show their difference. It is very difficult to convert the integer value into the text and use that in the function. And unfortunately, we could not figure it out. So for now, it just shows the same text regardless of which player ends. And that pretty much covers all of our requirements. Our project wasn't that big, and we mostly focused on implementing the interfaces and joystick controls and allowing another degree of motion along the horizontal axis independent of the game speed. And all of those features are implemented and working. Some missing features are pause mechanic and the victory screen, which I talked about earlier. And this pretty much covers our demo for final project in our class. So